Hey guys, it's Marta. Welcome to Make Garden. Today let's do a quick walk. I will talk about a perennial that is perfect for gravel garden that is in full sun. I'll show you how I do my Chelsea chop on my Catmint. I'll show you what I did with the border behind me, and I will of course show you some more blooms, especially my Rhododendron. So first of all, I wanted to talk about this perennial. If you have a space that is extremely sunny, you have a gravel garden and you're searching for a plant that will be happy in this kind of conditions, so the soil, it's good to be poor soil, so nothing too rich, very well draining, so the gravel garden will never stand in water, and then a lot of sun. This perennial loves that. I think that around 9 years ago I brought 3 tiny plugs of plants, and I just read that it likes the gravel conditions and full sun, and I thought maybe here. We'll see how it goes, and it performs so well. It blooms so beautifully in our May garden, so it looks very nicely. I have some azaleas behind it, so it looks nicely with them, and it stays as a flowering clump or a cloud for 3 weeks, and then it stays as a green cloud, and you don't have to clean the flowers, which I absolutely love. You just let it be, nothing to be done, maybe some gentle work in the spring when you're looking at your clump and it's beginning to green up, and then you just have to see if there are any dry patches. You have to take them out. That is all that I do with this plant. So I'm raving and raving how wonderful this plant is, and I did not say the name. So the name of this is creeping phlox or moss phlox. And guys, this is a beautiful 9-year-old plant, but I will show you few plants that I planted 2 years ago and how wonderful they look. This clump is old. I think it's 9, maybe 10 years old. I can't remember when I was planting it. But look what you can achieve in just 2 years if you give a plant a perfect space and give it what it needs. I planted those 2 years ago, early spring lilac. This is like a cloud of lilac, purple, pinks. It looks beautiful, and it's planted next to my lavender, which gives it a nice now green backdrop, and then when the lavender blooms, this will give it a nice green backdrop. So I really love that. I think this variety is called spring lilac, but I will check it and I will write it in the description below the video. I will also write other varieties that I have. What I love about this plant is that I don't fertilize it, I don't water it, and it was planted just in the gravel with a lot of sand and a bit of soil, and that is it. If you give it the right conditions, you can get incredible results with minimum care, because it isn't afraid of a little drought, it isn't afraid of the sun, and doesn't need too much maintenance. Whatever you do with it, don't put it in the shade and don't give it too much water. In the last 3 days, I was working on this border. I was removing the drying leaves of the alliums because they were bothering me. Everything is such lush green, and then you have those dry patches of the allium leaves. So I was removing them. I was also cleaning this border from the remaining tulips because most of their leaves were quite dry, so I was very happy about it, and of course some of the weeds. Today I wanted to show you how I trim my catmint. It is a Chelsea chop, but I only chop part of the plant so I can prolong the flowering of this beautiful perennial. I've been practicing Chelsea chop on my catmint for a few years now, and this gives me great results with prolonging the flowering. But I don't chop the whole plant, I just chop the back of the plant now. I let this part that I did not chop, it has the buds already. This will flower for me, and it will flower just in time with all of the alliums behind it. So we'll have a nice purple front of the border, and then all of those purples in the back. This part that was chopped will flower for us later, and this is what I want. I want it to flower later when the roses will be blooming. This part in the front then will be spent, so I will prune it again. This part will bloom, and then when it is spent I will trim it, and this front part will bloom for me again. So the season of blooms is definitely prolonged, and I will get this nice flash of purple in the front of the border with all of the flowers that I want. I'm not really looking where I'm cutting. Of course, it is always good to trim just after a set of buds, so it's better, but with Catmint you can really just shear them down with some shears, and don't worry about it. It will grow again, and it is a wonderful thing of trimming your perennials to get that really prolonged type of blooming. With other perennials like sedums or penstemons, I will wait for another week, maybe even 2, so they are a bit bigger, but I trim the whole plant, and I will show you in the other videos. But with trimming the whole plant, like the phlox that we can see here, I will get a nicer bushy growth. There will be no flopping of the plants. So that I use for phlox, for my asters, for my sedums, and maybe for some penstemons, and I get really great results. As I'm looking at my wall with clematis, this is a reminder, guys, if you're growing clematis, it's very important to tie them to the structure they are growing on. They are growing so rapidly now, so I'm always going with my string and I'm tying them down to any kind of support. So either this is the wall or the obelisk, I'm always tying them, and I'm showing them the way I want them to grow, because they are always growing the other way. And you can always guide them gently with a string and show them which way they are supposed to go. Now it's also a good time to check your plants for pests. It might be green fly, black fly, white fly, or any other pests. I will link in the description below some treatments that I'm using, eco sprays for those kind of pests that are eager to, disrupt the blooming you're expecting. So it's good to treat them sometimes with really simple solutions, but you have to be very diligent and do it at least once a week. So I also cleaned this border, especially from those leaves from alliums. I don't know why, but there are so many of them this year. In the fall, I was planting some new plants here. I was changing something. I want more interest in the fall, but also in June. So I added more salvias. You've seen them last year, and I was so amazed by the amount of flowers April night salvia had that I planted more of that. I have some more cornflowers and the humelo plant also. I'm really looking forward to see those blooms. We'll also have some sedums, so I can't wait for months and months of blooms. So this is my Rhododendron Furnivalsdottir. It is a teenager, so it's quite big. I really love it. I love those flowers. We've had difficult beginnings with each other. It was always sick, and I was always treating it with different things. But then when it got established, it is blooming reliably every year. We had a bit of rain, and I was hoping that the pollen from the pine will be washed away, but that was just too much, and it is covered with the pollen. But I will not be doing anything to those leaves now, because the bees are loving the flowers. You can hear the buzzing, and they are very happily just getting into those flowers. If you ever had your leaves eaten, I can see that I even have a shape of an elephant. Thank you, vine weevil. So those vine weevils are the insects that are feeding on the leaves, and they absolutely love rhododendrons. What I do with them, I treat the soil with nematoids, and I think it is the best way to fight them. But you are with nematoids, you are killing the larvae, not the bigger those who are eating, but the first stage of their life. And I think it's quite important to do it, especially now in May. I think it will be the nice. You have to be very precise with the temperatures you are putting this thing on your soil. So I will also link the product that I'm using in the description of this video. So you might be interested what's growing in this border. So here you can see Rhododendron Furnivalsdottir. Here I have panicle hydrangea, that is just green leaves now, but it will have beautiful flowers. This is a tree peony, so like the earliest blooming peony that is in tree form, beautiful big blooms and wonderful scent. And here you have the centra that is called gold heart. This electric lime green foliage is what I absolutely love about it. So tree peony is an interesting peony that has a wooden part that is growing all year long, and then in the spring the soft growth appears like in normal peony. They bloom definitely earlier than my other peonies. I like them in spring because when those soft green tissue emerges and they are almost in bud, it looks like hands are dancing in every day. So I really like that. I don't know the variety of this tree peony because I just bought it as tree peony, but I was lucky. The color is really great and the scent is beautiful. Okay guys, let me know if you have a tree peony in your garden. Maybe you have some varieties so others can learn which are highly recommended. So let us know in the comments. And as always, please write where are you writing from and what is happening in your garden. This is like my most favorite part of the day, reading your comments and knowing that someone in Australia is having a fall now and is writing to us what is happening in their garden. And another person is in Canada and is shoveling snow. That was a really great joke. I really loved that. And I love reading where you are all from and what is happening in your gardens. This is a nice learning curve and I hope more people will write this time. So waiting for you in the comments, guys. If you like today's video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully the alliums will be blooming. Bye.